What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? The AP poll has been released. We'll go through the new top 25. Cam Rogers coming at you alongside Tom Downey. Let's get into it. We will start things off with Alabama checking in at number 1, Ohio State at 2. The Tigers of Clemson at number 3. Notre Dame gets inside the top 4 there. We have LSU at 6-1. They are at number 5 after a big-time victory over Georgia. 6 through 10 here. The Wolverines of Michigan. Big-time victory in prime time in the Big House against Wisconsin last night. Texas at number 7. Georgia with the loss yesterday at number 8. Oklahoma at number 9. The Sooners were idle, if you will, this past week. They did not play. UCF at number 10, undefeated still. Florida at number 11, 6-1 on the year. Number 12 is Oregon after a big-time win over Washington. We have West Virginia at 13, Kentucky at number 14. There's Washington at 15 with a 5-2 record. 16 through 20. NC State, the Wolfpack, 5-0 on the year. Texas A&M at 17. Penn State losing to Michigan State. They plummeted 10 slots. They're 4-2 on the year. Iowa at 19. Cincinnati at number 20. And then 21 through 25. South Florida undefeated on the year. Mississippi State at number 22. Wisconsin on the loss last night, falling to number 23. Michigan State back inside the top 25. They're at number 24. And then Washington State at number 25. All of a sudden, we have a ranked matchup this week for Washington State getting inside the top 25 as they take on Oregon this week. So, Tom, initial reactions here.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
With all this chaos, I kind of thought the AP pollsters would find a way to just have stupid teams in the top 10. And actually, in the top 10 particularly, I think they actually got it pretty close to right.
It's pretty good.
I think that you should have Notre Dame maybe a little bit higher, but I'm kind of alone on that one based on the discussions I've had with you so far.
Yes.
I think LSU absolutely should be number 5. I said last week Michigan should have been ahead of Texas. I think Texas is in the right spot at number 7. And then Georgia, Oklahoma, UCF, Florida, Oregon, maybe put Oregon a little bit higher. Overall, I think they did a pretty good job there. Now, once you get outside those couple spots there, I think Kentucky should still be higher.
Okay.
I continue to maintain that their resume is better than a number 14 team. I don't think Washington should be top 15 anymore.
You want them lower?
I want them lower. I'm glad to see Auburn not ranked. They certainly don't deserve the way they've played as of late. I think actually Texas A&M should be the highest 2-loss team in the country.
What do you make of Wisconsin still being inside the top 25, the way in which they looked last night?
Here's the reality. I think once you get it to number 22 or so, because South Florida is still undefeated, and they didn't look all that great last week, who the hell do you put in instead of them?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Stanford's in the exact same boat. All of those teams, Mississippi State, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Stanford, even a USC, their 2 losses, and they haven't looked all that good at either. So I actually think that is about right for those programs there. Maybe actually put the Cougars up a little bit higher since they're 5-1, but I think you did a good job dropping Colorado. I'm glad the Hurricanes aren't ranked. So overall, as negative as I've been in the past, this wasn't too bad for the AP poll.
We have a happy Tom on set
happy.
today. Wow,
Yeah.
I am honored.
Happy.
Well, it's really interesting here because you have Texas now at number 7. What do we make of these Longhorns here? And comparing them to Michigan as well.
I think this is about right. I think there will be some good debate about which team should be higher, Michigan or Texas. And I know Texas fans are still mad at me for last week saying that they should have been a top 10 team. You're a no-doubt top 10 team this week. I think you're a no-doubt top 7 team as well. I'd have been very upset if Georgia was still ahead of Texas. But I think that Michigan should be ahead of Texas. And Texas does have, overall, I think, better wins, but losses do count, Cam. And Michigan beat your Maryland Terrapins, and Texas couldn't. And yes, it was week 1. But I think when you're comparing two teams I think are pretty similar, and both have arguments for being 6 or even potentially being in the top 5, if you beat the team our team lost to, shouldn't you be ahead of them?
Well, I will say this, Tom. The biggest cheerleader of the Maryland Terrapins outside of College Park are the fans in Austin, Texas. Because the more Maryland wins, the more that loss looks better.
Got to get that quality loss in there.
Exactly, that quality loss. We know the committee loves that. In terms of Texas and their hopes of getting into the college football playoff, I mean, it's there.
They got a good chance. If they win out, I think they're in. And I think that the reality of other teams losing, you're now down to 4 undefeated programs, and I would assume more teams will lose, be it a Clemson, Alabama, or Notre Dame, or even Ohio State. Now, of course, if Alabama, OSU, Clemson, Notre Dame all go undefeated, Texas is not going to get in, but you think that's going to happen? You think all 4 of those teams will go undefeated?
Yeah, no.
Historically, no, we don't ever see that. So if Texas wins out, even if they don't technically control their own destiny right now, in reality they do.
Meanwhile, for Michigan here, Tom, real quick, if I may, interesting schedule coming up for them. Obviously, Ohio State, Michigan State this week, Penn State as well. Everything's in front of the Wolverines as well, of course.
Yeah.
We talked about it last night, actually.
Same
They
boat.
control their destiny. Meanwhile, with Notre Dame, where do we feel about them? Because this is a very polarizing topic. Is Notre Dame overrated?
When you talk about Ohio State, about Alabama, about all the blue bloods of college football, you're going to have the haters.
Yep.
And even though Notre Dame has had some issues so far this year, they should have beat Pitt by a lot more, had a bit of a scare against Vanderbilt. They've had some scares this year, but they're sitting there at 7-0 with a really quality win over Michigan. Wins over Stanford and Virginia Tech that aren't technically quality right now because they're not ranked, but I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year, both those teams are near the bottom 25. And then you look at the rest of their schedule, Navy, at Northwestern, Florida State, Syracuse, at USC. Those, in theory, should all be wins.
Some feisty teams there, but
Some potential upsets. I think if FSU and USC get back on track near the end of the year, those could actually be tough games.
Yep.
But Notre Dame, I think, is going to be a college football playoff team if
Wow.
they take care of business. Now, we talked about this last year. They had the same issue. They were good early on, had a tough loss against Georgia, and then kind of wilted a little bit down the stretch. So I think you'll see Notre Dame get in, but they kind of got bailed out against Pitt. If they have similar issues this week, things could change.
All right, folks, you're watching the latest AP poll here on Chat Sports. Cam Rogers with you alongside Tom Downey. We are indeed presented by Tavour. Folks, do you love craft beer? Tom, you do.
All kinds of great craft beers from breweries all over the country delivered to you. Sign up for free to be alerted about all their new craft beers, and then use promo code chatsports.com for $10 off your first purchase at Tavour.com. They got these new sour beers that I'm excited to try.
The fall season, of course, Tom, as well.
Plenty of
So
pumpkin
everybody
beers.
wants, the pumpkin beer, of course. Tavour, that's the way to go, folks. Let's take a look at the latest top 25 in the AP poll. Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame. Those are your top four. And then LSU with that big win yesterday.
Can I just point out that when we do our college football playoff rankings, last week everyone gave us shit for having LSU being number one, and then they lost. And then they beat Georgia this week, and everyone's like, Georgia should be higher. We're like, okay, guys, maybe we do know a little bit about what we're talking about.
At me, haters. The resume certainly looks good for LSU so far. Michigan at number 6 after beating Wisconsin. You have Texas at 7. Georgia falling to number 8. Oklahoma at 9. UCF at number 10. You know, Tom, looking back, would we have envisioned Texas being ahead of Oklahoma at any point in the AP poll? I wouldn't have.
After week 1, probably not, but after the TCU game, maybe.
Sure, all right.
And they, by the way, Texas 100% should be above Oklahoma, like, obviously. But we've seen the coaches poll and AP poll do some weird things in the past. I know that about that one.
So Michigan is behind LSU. Tom, should Michigan be ahead of the Tigers?
No, they should not. And I don't want to insult Michigan. I've been very impressed with what they've done since that Notre Dame game. And yes, Michigan has the better loss, but what LSU has done in terms of their wins this year is pretty damn impressive.
Yep.
Now, the Hurricanes and Auburn wins all of a sudden don't look all that good, but the Georgia one makes up for it. So I still go with LSU on that end.
It was a heck of a win yesterday for LSU.
An impressive win.
At
They dominated.
that. Yeah. Hey, don't sleep on Florida too, Tom.
No, don't sleep on Kentucky. They are a football school now, all right? They should be number 11. They beat Florida head-to-head.
That's fair.
I will continue to die on this hill for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Washington at number 15. They were number 7 a week ago, falling a few slots. Let's take a look at 16 through 20. We have the Wolfpack of NC State, Texas A&M, Penn State. Are they irrelevant at this point, Tom?
I don't know about irrelevant, but if you're talking about the college football playoff race, yes, they're out. They got no chance. Because even if they went out the rest of the way, they're not getting in.
Iowa at number 19. Cincinnati at number 20, 6-0 so far this year. Then 21 through yeah, that's rough. 21 through 25. South Florida, Mississippi State, Wisconsin still ranked despite the loss last night. Michigan
Mediocre
State.
teams. I don't care about any of them.
And Washington State. They're just kind of there.
You got to put somebody else.
Yeah,
in
you
there.
got to
Like,
fill in.
Who's it going to be?
Others receiving votes here. We talked about Stanford, Tom. Do you think they can get ranked again?
I actually, if you're going to rank somebody else, I kind of might argue for Stanford being ranked instead of, let's just say, Wisconsin or Michigan State.
Yeah.
But
or
that's
Washington State, to be honest.
This is me.
San Diego State, USC getting some love as well. Appalachian State, Colorado was ranked. They're still receiving votes. All right, we got Utah State, Miami, Utah, Duke, Texas Tech. Anybody standing out here for you?
The Hurricanes, because they were ranked, and plummeted because they lost to Virginia.
Yikes. Hey,
the U's back. Oh, wait. No, they're not.
the U of Maryland getting some votes as well from the
got
voters
somebody?
out there.
How do you
gotta
feel about
love it.
that? 2 votes for you.
Hey, when you crush Rutgers, that obviously means you deserve votes, apparently. Virginia they're 4-2 on the year. Houston, Fresno State, 5 wins apiece for them. So there you go. The latest AP poll here, Tom. You like this top 25 here. Let's hope the AP voters don't go against you the rest of the way.
I'm sure they'll find a way. And I'm this is not how I would rank them, by the way, but I'm approaching it from the AP mentality. Resume-based, Bama should not be number 1. But AP poll-wise, yeah, you got to give it number 1.
So you're already thinking ahead, of course, and
Of course,
in terms of
rankings.
Yeah, our rankings projections.
Notre Dame should be number 1, but Ohio State I think is close.
So Notre Dame's going to be one.
Some
Okay.
ground there.
All right, we don't want to reveal it too early.
No,
of
we're
course.
not.
This is just spitballing as we
Yeah,
stand
this
here.
is what I would do.
Yeah. So Florida there at 11, Oregon at 12. What do you think of Oregon in the Pac-12?
They have a chance, but we've seen it time and time again. If Oregon goes undefeated, unlike a Texas or a Michigan, I don't think they're guaranteed a spot. I think that they have a decent chance, but they need more help.
They're going to try.
They
Yeah.
need Notre Dame to lose. They need some SEC upsets. And in the end, if it comes down to, let's just say, Bama goes undefeated, Clemson, Notre Dame go undefeated, a one-loss Big Ten champion is going to get in over
I
a
agree.
one-loss Pac-12 champion.
Yep.
But if it's an ACC loss, and we'll talk about Clemson, NC State here, Clemson doesn't have any quality wins this year. And frankly, they're not going to. Now, if they take down NC State, that I think helps them out.
You know, I think the
But-
fans in Death Valley are actually really glad that NC State is now ranked, right?
You're cheering for NC State.
For a
The rest of the way.
resume-based win,
Rest
know,
of the way,
at least you can
100%.
get a nice victory over NC State that is ranked. We'll see if it actually happens. That game is Saturday at 3:30 Eastern time in Clemson. We'll see if the Tigers can get that one done. Somebody is going to lose that game because, well, you know, they're both undefeated here. Somebody's going to get a loss.
Unlike the NFL,
in
there are no
column.
ties either.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there between those two. An ACC matchup as well, so very interesting to see. And you talked about the schedule for Clemson, not exactly enticing, so they need this victory and they need to be impressive in it. So, watch.
Clemson needs this one. And if NC State, by the way, pulls the upset all of a sudden, maybe they're back in the mix a little bit.
Sure, yeah. So who you got? Hit us up in this reaction poll. Heart for NC State, a like for Clemson. I have a feeling the majority of votes will be likes, but I could be wrong. Be sure to let us know what you think.
I got Clemson.
Yeah, I have Clemson as well.
Sorry, NC State.
Put up my likes on that. Let's talk about Washington State and Oregon. All of a sudden, we have a ranked matchup. What do you
And
think?
then it's not going. This is the classic.
Ranked and then unranked?
Exactly. You get a top 25 win, but then you don't because you beat them.
So it means nothing.
They need something, but it's not exactly ideal. I got Oregon, by the way, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Washington State, maybe they can pull the upset.
Oregon has looked pretty good so far this year, so they're riding good momentum, at least beating Washington. Let's take a look at Michigan and Michigan State. This is all of a sudden a ranked matchup.
And it won't be, assuming Michigan does pull off the win there.
Yeah.
Now, Michigan State coming off that impressive win against Penn State, which stunned both you and I because it was a home game for the Nittany Lions. I thought they'd find a way to beat Michigan State there. Michigan, though, in the end here, they get another quality win. It's not going to be, I call these the big quality win Cam. They're like a top 35 team. Not
Yep.
exactly top 25, but it's still a good win.
A good win. Yeah, that's a good way to put
Just
it.
not that, this is our key win. That was Wisconsin.
Michigan on the road in that game. Mississippi State taking on LSU. Mississippi State is 22.
And they will lose to LSU. Now,
LSU is too good.
LSU has had the gauntlet this year where they had a tough game against Florida, then they went and beat Georgia. Now they get Mississippi State, then they go play Alabama. So it's a rough slate of games for the Tigers. But Mississippi State's offense has been very underwhelming for me. But I think they'll find a way to get something going here. Or they're not going to find a way to get against LSU. That defense is good. They shut down Jake Fromm. They're going to totally shut down Nick Fitzgerald, at least through the air.
Could be a fun matchup at that. Who you got in this one? Heart for
LSU.
Mississippi State, like for LSU. Tom and I throwing up our thumbs because LSU is very much going to be in the postseason conversation throughout the year, I would think, Tom. Until the Alabama game.
And I want to
Who
make a
knows?
note, if LSU beats Mississippi State and they're a one-loss team, I wouldn't be surprised if they sneak back into the top 4. Because even with the loss, their resume is damn impressive.
All right, let's go one more time through the top 25 here, folks. Alabama at 1, Ohio State at 2, Clemson checks in at 3. We got Notre Dame inside the top 4, LSU at 5.
They got it right from the AP mindset.
Yep.
Now, I think the resumes, you can argue there, but I think that's the right top 5 for the AP people.
Michigan at 6. We have Texas at number 7, Georgia at number 8, the Sooners of Oklahoma at 9, UCF remains at number 10. Florida at number 11. We have Oregon at 12. West Virginia at number 13 after that loss. Kentucky at 14. Washington at 15.
If you're a top 10 team, don't go play Iowa programs on the road.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's just not going to end well for you.
Reschedule. NC State at 16. Texas A&M at 17. Penn State at number 18, falling mightily. We have Iowa at 19, and then Cincinnati undefeated.
NC State can put themselves on the map with a win against Clemson this week. I don't know if they're going to, but that could be a huge game for that entire program, frankly.
South Florida at number 21, Mississippi State at number 22, Wisconsin at 23, Michigan State now inside the top 25, and there's the Cougars.
They're all not that good.
All right, folks, you have been watching yet another edition of Chat Sports' AP poll release. For Tom Downey, I am Cam Rogers. See you next week.